feel about that? You know, as somebody who's been a known songwriter, you know, or I feel like you made some stake in the game, and you are an artist. You know, how do you feel about that transition?
Man, for myself, I've always known I was an artist. I think first it's self-work and self-understanding and understanding the purpose. So whether I was in the room with somebody else, or, you know, I started off touring with a lot of artists as well, but whether I was on the front of the stage, back of the stage, my value was the same. And so that actually, a lot of my first placements were with artists that I was touring with, who ended up hearing my music. And, you know, you never like press for that when you're on the road. You're always trying to keep the business separate, you know what I'm saying? You never want to let them know what else you're doing, but just by being myself, I was able to use that to navigate and kind of get in another room. So what happens now, I think, when you become an artist, I still work with other artists, working on whole albums with artists, and the difference is my demands are different. I value my time, so if I don't want to be there, if I don't like doing it, I understand I can spend this time working on my own stuff instead now. So I think it's just, I still see value in creating it coexists as well because I write my music. So that's also how I get my writing off, because if I'm not even doing it for somebody else, I'm doing it for myself, which is now my priority. So it's just, you're able to do both. It's just all about how you prioritize it and kind of what matters more to you in that moment. Like she said, there's really levels, and some of my greatest music I've written for myself, not even the other artists that I work with, giving them excellent music, but sometimes you don't even know until after you've done that and you have the freedom to create something of your own, and then you realize that what you're creating is greater because you don't have the limitations. You're not in the room with politics. You're not having to worry about just a whole bunch of stuff. So, but I think it's all an opportunity to build character and strengthen your craft. And as long as you go into it with that mindset, you can kind of use that to navigate. It's collateral to do what else you want to do.
Word. I feel like Derrick, you over there holding on to the gem.
Right.
Like, we know that we know you got the Grammy.
I feel like I'm on Clubhouse PTR.
Do you bring the Grammy with you every night? You got the Grammy and whatnot. And you are, you know, I feel like you had an opposite, you kind of did it in reverse. You, as far as I know, started as an artist and then you kind of backtracked and became like this secret weapon for the female artists in the music industry. So for a lot of people who don't know, this young man at the end just won a Grammy with Meagan Stallion for his record, the Savage remix. And you are accredited for working with a lot of other artists like Rhianna. I know you did like 11, 12 cuts for her on her project. So can you talk about how you became like the sought after songwriter for female rappers and song artists?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like when we first start off as an artist, they try to make you feel like you have to look a certain way. You got to be a certain way. You got to have a certain amount of numbers. You got to have a certain amount of followers. And when I first started, the music was always there. And every time I would take meetings with people, they'd be like, "Oh, you're too fat. Oh, you don't have an image. How we gonna market you? What could you possibly do?" And it was discouraging because when you grow up and you're around your family members and they're proud of you and they love you for who you are, you're around your peers, they love you for who you are. People love how talented you are. You're moving around, you're gaining fans organically, and you sit in a room with executives or A&Rs, and then they're looking at you, judging you off of how you look rather than how you are as a person hurt. And I was in a predicament where I was just like, you know what, like, these people gotta hear me. Right. These people gotta hear me. So I started writing in 2018. And
wait a second, you started writing in 2018?
Yeah.
Wow.
My first place, I can't say the song, but my first placement was a big song for Cardi B. So when I came in, odds was already against me. People was like, "Oh well, what else could you do?" And you know, I didn't know really how to approach it because all I knew how to do was imitate the artist. So I was just mimicking a lot of the artists that I was trying to work with. So, you know, I had a few conversations with a few of my friends, and And I was just like, yo, I don't want to give my sound up to just anybody. Like, I need to have my moment. And one thing that I studied was people like Neo, Dream, Babyface. And I was like, you know what? They were writing for women. And I was like, okay. I said, so if I come in and I just focus solely on women and just take myself serious and get myself in these rooms where I can deliver amazing records for women, it's kind of gonna broaden my mindset on just who I am. It's gonna just show me I'm sitting with Nicki Minaj, sitting with Meagan, sitting with Beyonce, sitting with Kiana, sitting with Summer Walker, Ari Lennox, and being around them and just having their relationships and them complimenting and being excited for my stuff and asking me, hey, when are you gonna put this out? You know, it showed me a lot. And you know, I do write for men as well, but I solely picked to write for men that have their own sound. So I was doing a lot of stuff with Pop Smoke, rest in peace. I was doing a lot of stuff for Moneybagg Yo. And you know, I just tried to stay in my own lane. I didn't really want to step on people's toes. And you know how LA is, like, you don't get invited to stuff. So a lot of the times I'm a very social person, but I'm to myself a lot. So every time I just be at the house, just waiting for that phone call, and nobody would call. And then I was like, you know what? I just need to go out and get it. So as I started just building up my brand, I was like, you know, if I'm gonna do the writing stuff, I'm gonna have to market it just as much as I would market myself as an artist. So I started taking Balenciaga serious. I started going everywhere. People like, oh, you always got on Balenciaga. I invested in stuff like the jewelry just to kind of show people when I come in the rooms, don't treat me like I can't be like you. And then even with the Grammy, the reason why I walk around with it is because not only is it motivation just to everybody, because I never saw one in my life until I had one myself. I just wanted to show people that, look, stop trying to close people in a box, bro. Stop trying to make it seem like it's impossible to be successful and accomplish certain things. You know, because I feel like people, they feel like I got it too fast, or why are you walking around with it? I mean, I earned it.
Because God can elevate you faster, you know what I mean? He can expedite your process. On that note, can I hold the Grammy though? Because I never really, we all should touch it just to get some of the Grammys.
Make sure y'all follow it on Instagram too, Carrington Grammy.
I want to go. Oh my God, this ain't happening.
Wait, what's the Grammy Instagram?
Carrington the Grammy.
Carrington the Grammy.
Okay, I'm handing this back to you because I'm scared. You got it. Wow, that's so dope to hear, Derrick. You know, this is really dope. I love doing these because you really don't really know a lot about a person just by reading or following them on social media. So this really is really like a humbling experience, you know. So for you guys to be up here telling your stories is really inspirational. We talked about women and working with female artists, which brings me up to Tone. Tone, the first time I saw you was on I Used to Know You tour?
Yeah,
with her. I used to know her.
Yep.
Not you. And I saw you open up and I was like, yo, this kid is dope. In fact, I DM'd you. You can read the DM, but it's okay.
Man,
It's cool. It happens a lot. But look who we are now. It's a full circle moment, so I think that's dope. But again, working with a female artist like her, so how did you attract somebody like her to be on her tour?
First off, I'm going to rewind a little bit and just piggyback on what you're saying. God is good.
All the time.
God is good. So there's things in my life that I couldn't even explain. Like it just happened. You know what I'm saying? That's how I know God was working for me. At the time, I was on tour in 2018, and I wasn't as close to everybody in that camp yet. And my manager Jason, I actually met him on a previous tour in 2017. I was opening for August Alsina, and I would just see him in the you know, whatever behind me backstage and shit. He'd be like, "What's up, bro? What's up?" And so the next year, they chose me, and I didn't even know, but he was the one that was like advocating for me.
Was it a contest?
No, it wasn't no contest. He was just saying like, they were kind of trying to see who should open up.
Yeah.
And Jason was just like, yo, I seen Tone live. I was on tour with him, and he's the one. So upon arrival, I got there, and I didn't even know. I just got there thinking like, oh yeah, about to open up the school. Ran into Jason, like, what you doing here, bro? Like, what you doing? He's like, this is my family for real. And he was the reason that I actually got on the tour. But as I went and did the whole tour, it's just her. I'm not gonna say government, but her and the whole team is just, it's a family vibe, and it changed my life forever. And being around someone that amazing, being able to perform with her, I just learned so many things about stage presence, about how to carry yourself when you're going to your fans, and how to really take care of your fans, and just really just give that love back to everybody on stage. But it's an amazing experience, and like I said, God is good. That's all I can say. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I feel like we need a praise break. DJ. Hey, shout music. You ain't catch it there, I wanna jump over to my boy Kenyon. It's crazy because Kenyon is somebody who I've been listening to for a while, and he's super talented, bro. I'm happy that you're starting to get the recognition that you deserve. So with that being said, you got this record called Expectations, and it got some radio play.
Yeah.
How did that feel for you? Was that your first time?
That wasn't my first time on the radio, but it was amazing because it was an LA station, and I'm born and raised in LA, so I'm watched to get out of the LA neighborhood here, and so I think it was even more special, especially because the person who kind of spearheaded that whole thing was somebody also that I grew up with. So for them to be at a station that our city is known for, to hear the music on that particular station, that in itself is just something really cool.
And so with that being said, now you have the record with PJ Morton. You guys haven't heard it. It's called Escape. How are these collaborations coming about? How did that link up happen?
So I've known PJ for a while, but prior to Escape, me, PJ, and BJ the Chicago Kid came together to do a cover of Sam Cooke's Bring It Home with Me. And so we did that around the time that One Night Miami was nominated for, was it an Oscar? Or one of those awards, but that was our first collaboration. So me and PJ kind of just talked a lot, and I had this other idea. We just talked about a lot of things that were happening. And that's what Escape is kind of based on, given the last year that we had with the more highs of racial tension and just everything that was going on. I think Nina Simone describes it best, that an artist's job is to kind of detail the times. And so when it's all said and done, I want to also have music that people can listen to and know what was going on during the time. And so that was kind of that record for us, just kind of detailing our experience, but also kind of detailing the importance of hope and escapism with everything that's going on. So take care of yourself and your mental as well. So music is awesome, but also be well, and that's what that record is about.
Okay, so nice. I love the music that all of you guys are coming out with. I've been bopping to your album money long, saying the stuff that I be wanting to say that I can't say, talking that shit. I want to jump over to my boy Jeff though. Jeff, you have been surrounded by a bunch of inspirational female like Lauryn Hill and Alicia Keys, having played on tour with them, and now you've been an intricate piece into H.E.R's career. If y'all don't know, this man at the end of the panel produced the #1 record called Damaged by H.E.R.
Yeah.
Tap it up for my boy at the time. And so can you talk about that, well, how that's been, and is this an intentional thing for you to be involved with these types of women, or?
I mean, low-key, maybe I was always a mama's boy. Just, my grandma raised me too, so I've been surrounded by women my whole life. And I don't know, when I grew up playing with boys, you know, playing music, playing in bands, and there was certain, I don't know, testosterone to the music, like certain things to want to show from chops. And when you get older, you get a little more sensitive. You start to learn that less is more. So, you know, I was a huge fan of all these artists that you mentioned, Lauryn Hill and Alicia Keys, and I grew up in high school listening to Lauryn Hill, so when I had the opportunity to audition with her and work with her, I already was very familiar with her music and, you know, her artistry. But yeah, I think it's a certain sensitivity that comes with it, and comes with the music and the certain ability to be able to open up to emotions. And I hate to generalize things, but I'm assuming maybe that's why I've been very fortunate and blessed enough to work with some of the most amazing female artists. Money Long included.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as a black woman who has worked with Jeff, you're really good at just being firm when you need to be, soft when you need to be. And one of the most standout things about you that I noticed in the beginning is that you just allowed me to be. You know, like I wasn't too loud, I wasn't too ghetto, I didn't curse too much, I didn't drink too much. You didn't judge me. You wasn't like, oh, you got a fat ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? You weren't doing none of that goofy shit. Like, I just felt like I could be. You know what I'm saying? No, seriously, you would not believe how many times I walked in the studio and heard, you ain't no artist, you're a songwriter, you're a finance songwriter. What the fuck does that have to do with my singing and writing ability? That sounds dumb. But, you know, you just know how to let a woman be. You know what I mean? Like, and we talk about this, like, even not just with black women, non-binary, you know, transgender. Like, you just know how to exist in the space with another woman or like femininity without having to show, like, I'm a man. And then I feel like that's probably, I don't know, that's just my experience.
And I appreciate that, thank you. And yeah, I just feel like a big part of our responsibility is to just be a part of the magic and let the magic happen. Don't get in the way. You know what I'm saying? If you can inspire it, but when it's coming, know how to get out of the way and just be blessed enough to be in the presence of magic.
Man, I would have loved to been in that session when y'all produced Damage. I ain't gonna lie. That song was smash. So I want to get into a little game. I don't know if you guys are down to play, but I like playing this game. You know, you guys are all writers, and every writer has a memo pad or a voice note on their phone. I want to play a game of play that voice note. You know, something that you work in motion with, or something. You know, let us hear a rough of a song that is a song that we know. Share with the people who are here. Come on, let me know now.
What you finna connect to the Bluetooth?
I know, man. I feel like an old person.
We can't hear that.
Can y'all hear?
Oh, shit.
Oh, that's dope. Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
Crazy.
Damn, you just had that ready. You just had that ready. Just like.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. I had this phone forever. Like, I be feeling embarrassed around my friends because the screen be back sometimes. But I keep everything on here. I can't lose it.
That's crazy.
If y'all didn't hear it, he just played the demo to Hot Girl Summer. So, y'all didn't know.
That's crazy. Oh, shit.
Ooh, that's my shit.
Wait.
Hey. Chris Brown.
I love that record,
You know what I'm saying? That was my first place.
bro. I love
I
that.
heard that one time.
I love that record, bro.
Amazing. question is, how you guys been surviving during this pandemic as songwriters and artists? What's keeping you up? How's it been? Has it been great? Has it been bad? Have you made the most money? Have you made...
We did damage during the pandemic. Like, I feel like, I feel like
Let us hold a dollar.
I'm saying this, look, it's been hard for a lot of people, but some of us have used that as an opportunity to thrive in the sense that we've been more focused, still continuing to be consistent. You know what I mean? I see my daughter's 2 years old. Pandemic started, she was 6 months. So I've been able to be a good producer and be a good dad too as well. So yeah.
Amen.
I think I always have to just like make things happen. Like, you know, when people say like, "Mama, I made it," that has a different meaning to me because I literally make it. I literally call people or call Jeff. Hey, when you got some days, I want to do this. Yo, do you know a violin player? Like, you know, I'm making it happen. So, you play violin? What was that? Okay. But I'm literally making it happen. And so I think in the pandemic, I saw that as an opportunity. I was like, oh shit, everybody else sitting down? They all chilling? Cool, I'm gonna turn up, period. You know, and I just, you know, I started my own label, hired a bunch of people, I started like shooting other videos. So, you know, I just, it was hard because of the pandemic. Like, we had to pay extra fees for like COVID testing, certain venues, like the cheaper, you know, it was more money to exist at the same capacity, but nobody was doing shit. So like, I just had so many opportunities that I probably wouldn't have if, you know, everybody was available that they could call. I was like, I'm here, I got some songs, what's up? I got some videos, what you trying to do? You know what I'm saying? It was just an opportunity for me.
Yeah, I'll say the pandemic for me, man, was the first time that I was able to appreciate that I was so self-sufficient. I think anytime prior to that, it's like a task when you feel like you got to do everything. And so, quick story. So like I started touring. Again, I started off as a background vocalist. I toured with a bunch of people. And so I went on tour the day after I graduated high school was my first tour. So I've toured ever since. Like 60% of the year I'm usually on tour. So what happens is, as a writer, I got used to bringing my setup on the road and cutting records in the hotel room when we got days off or going to the back of the tour bus. So here I am, still being progressive while I have all of this stuff going on, and then we get a time. At the time when the pandemic hit, I had just finished touring with Justin Timberlake. We were on tour for like a year and a half, and pandemic hit, sent me home, and I had now all this time to work on my stuff because I couldn't do it because of what I was having to do with my time when I was out on the road. So the pandemic for me, man, ended up being one of the most rewarding times ever, and it took me a while to get comfortable with that because I used to feel bad to say that it was a great time for me because it was such a tragic time for us globally, but it really kind of showed me what I could create and what I was made of, and it allowed me to, I was able to use it as leverage as an artist, and that really kind of helped, everything just take off. So it's awesome. Unfortunate time, but I think with any unfortunate time, if you can spend anything into something and make it useful, and I think that was just my mindset going into it. So some great things came from it.
It was bad.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it was bad. I had COVID when it first hit, when we didn't even know what it was. And like we came back from a Warner Chapel camp, and all of a sudden I was working on Rihanna's album, and I started getting just shortness of breath randomly, like almost collapsed. And I had to keep going to urgent care like every day to get a shot, and all they would give me was a Z-Pack and an inhaler. So now I have asthma that I never had in my life because of that. My birthday is Christmas Eve. My family's all on the East Coast. So while everything was going on, I was in the house. I don't have family in LA. So my closest friends are my engineer, Troy, who's right there. That's like my best friend. Ashley was over there, Carmen Murray. And I literally was just talking to them. Like they see me go through so much by myself. And during the pandemic, as much as positive as it was, I felt very alone. I couldn't celebrate my birthday, I couldn't celebrate the Grammy nominations, I couldn't celebrate my mom's birthday, I haven't saw my grandparents, I couldn't celebrate Christmas, I haven't celebrated New Year's, I haven't went back home. And it's just like when I was out here, everybody was just calling me to help them. And nobody was calling to check on me.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like everything was, Derrick, can you be here? Derrick, can you be here? And they don't understand I'm risking my life. There's times when I go to Calabasas to work with a certain artist to get my inhaler at home. And then have to sit in a session with my chest literally squeezing because it's smoke and there's no ventilation. And I'm driving home having to put my window down, coughing just to try to, you know, like I was really going through it, and like right now it feels great to just see everybody again because like I said, my family's not here. So I attach myself to a lot of people who I work with and a lot of my peers and kind of build that relationship because people don't know what you go through. Like that's why I was on Clubhouse. Like people made a joke about it. Oh, you was on Clubhouse, but I really had nobody to talk to. So it was a new app for me to explore. It was a new app for me to meet people who didn't treat me a certain way or look at me or because I never put what I did in my bio. So everybody treated me like a regular person and was able to build that connection. So really what the pandemic did for me showed me really to appreciate family more. I really miss my mom. And over the time, I would call her. And she's still alive, literally. She comes out here now, literally like twice a month because she knows what I was going through. But it really made me appreciate family because when we get into this industry, we sacrifice a lot, and I don't think people understand how much sacrifice comes with this. We literally have to do for everybody else, and like I said, they don't call to check on us. We drop things at the drop of a dime. We don't eat right. We don't sleep right. You know, we don't call people. We get a phone call and we have to say, Mom, I'll call you right back. I'm busy. Not knowing what's going on, you know. So it really showed me how to appreciate family. It taught me how to appreciate myself, and it really gave me time to just study everything, from interviews to previous artists, to songwriters, to artists, to touring, to show production, to really study and just build up who I am as a person. Because I felt like when I first came in it, I didn't know and I got lost. So it really made me appreciate who I am, and it made me appreciate my value and who I am as a person. So.
Wow.
Yeah, no, wrap it up for that. You said a whole lot.
Nah, I mean, to your point, bro, like, it really made me appreciate family. I was out here, like, in the January, early February when shit started going crazy. And we started buying up all the fucking toilet paper and shit. So I was like, nah, it's crazy, I'm going home. I'm from the East Coast. So when I went home, I went home not knowing that the country was about to shut down. And when it did, like, my parents who work, they asked every day, still to this day, they got like 2 months, 3 months off. And I was like, damn, I really get to see my people every day. Like, that, there's never been a time like that, you know what I'm saying? So I think during the pandemic, that's what I really appreciated the most was getting to see my family. Like you said, you're artists, and we just be running. And like, well, I won't be home for the whole year, you know what I'm saying? And just once out of the whole year, just going home, and that shit's crazy. But I really got to appreciate my family, and then on the artist side, as an artist, just elevating. I mean, all we have is time, you know what I'm saying? Studying, like perfecting your craft. That's all you could do. I mean, if you were smart and you're an artist and you want to be in the game, that's what you should have did during the pandemic. Because now, shit is moving. It's back and it's gone. But yeah, that's what I want to do.
Okay. Y'all still with us? We got to wrap this thing up and then y'all get the party again. Don't worry. All right, last question. This is kind of like a final thought. Just if you guys can say one thing, you provide a source of information, a resource to somebody out there today, what would it be? Just something real quick.
Like I said before, God is good. I believe in God. I know everybody might believe in somebody else, but just keep pushing forward and stay on your course. You know what I'm saying? Because you just never know what's about to happen. Look, terrible, absolutely bad for you, but you just keep pushing and things will change. So you just gotta know your purpose, know why you're here. Know that we're here for limited time and we're here for a reason. We have a job to do. So if you're gonna be an artist or a songwriter or anything, just know your purpose and just keep pushing for it.
Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up.
Man, I say more than anything, take care of yourself holistically, your mind, body, spirit, all of that. I think one thing I've learned as a creative that everybody probably can attest to, when you're down, having health issues or whatever the case is, they will find somebody else. And so I've learned even, being in these sessions and everything, when I feel like I need a moment, whether it's something that to work on my mind, body, or spirit, I'm going to take that liberty to make sure I'm good. Because when I'm not good, you're literally getting somebody else to into your vision and get things done. And I'm left to figure out, or we're left to figure out what's next for us. And so I think that disconnected from all of that, you have you. So work on yourself and figure out what your purpose is, what matters to you. And the more you know that, the more you're able to navigate. And also listen to people, learn from people. No matter how old you get, one thing I've learned is to listen, because the more knowledge I gain, the more conversations I'm able to be a part of, which creates more opportunity. So literally, I'm around, I talk to my OGs, I listen. I don't know everything, and that's something that I know. So I make sure that no matter who you are, what level, what age, if you have something to say, I want to hear it. Because I feel like at some point that helps develop character and helps you, again, navigate, because there's so much happening. So that's my advice to y'all.
I'm gonna say trust the process. Utilize your relationships and the people that you're around, and just be you. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. Like, just be you, and you'll be accepted. And when you're accepted, it's gonna feel better when you know that you are yourself. When you get to that point.
Yeah, just piggyback of what Derrick was saying earlier, man, like, something we all have in common is the sacrifice, and I truly believe that, and I feel like it's not an accident, it's not a coincidence. The hardworking people like ourselves are doing these things because, we gave a lot, and given and continue to give a lot every day, so, hard work and sacrifice is something. And also just the power of your ideas too, knowing how much power you have. I think that's another common theme today, is that we're all songwriters, and it's really our ideas and our creative property, intellectual property, that's really some of the most valuable things that we can provide to a situation. So never underestimate that. Know the power of your ideas.
And there's so many things that I wish that somebody would have told me, when I first started. But one of the main things, and I don't know if I'm about to be speaking to anybody specifically out here, one of the most important things that it took me damn near 10 years to figure out, you have a choice. You have a choice. You don't have to do something just because you're signed. You don't have to do something because this artist is like the biggest artist in the world, it's going to change my life. It's not. You don't have to do something because somebody makes you feel guilty that if you don't show up, your career is going to be ruined. You have a choice. When you think about the thing that is being offered to you that's in front of you right now, how does it make you feel? Do you feel obligated? Does your heart drop? Do you feel like, I really don't want to do this, but don't do it? Very simple, because that's not something that's in alignment with your ultimate destiny, your ultimate vision that God has over your life. It's not that hard. I'm sure all of us can attest. We've been in situations where people try to make it so difficult. They try to make you feel like you just don't understand. Stevie Wonder said this. I was at an ASCAP expo where Janelle Monáe was moderating. He said something so profound. He said, if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. It's not rocket science. It's not, it shouldn't feel like a calculus equation. If somebody says some shit to you and it ain't computing, It's some bullshit. It's something in there that is not right. Trust your instinct. You have a choice. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Period. End of sentence.
I needed that.
Hey.
Facts. I swear to God on everything I needed. I'm gonna talk to you after.
And if I could add anything, I would just say, you don't have to believe in God, but believe in something. Make sure that you have your own relationship with whatever, because this industry is very evil and wicked, and if you don't have your stuff in order, you can get lost in the sauce. So with that being said, those 2 questions, can we bring them out? All right, what are the 2 questions at?
For me, okay, so for me, I cannot show up to the studio looking like this. Absolutely not. I will get no response from the artist, especially if they're a female. If it's a male, if I come in the studio looking like this, it's gonna be a whole bunch of just raunchy, disrespectful, not focused bullshit. If I'm in the studio with a woman and I come in looking like this, it's jealousy, it's you don't want to open up, you don't want to tell me shit. I'll have to show up looking like a bum. And then when I do that, you're not a star, you're just a songwriter. That's part of the reason why I don't do that shit no more.
Well, on that note, I just want to thank all of the panelists, all of you guys for just being amazing and sharing your time with us. Everybody just clap it up for them one time. And clap it up for yourself. And DJ Damage.
Tonight.